tonight is the pink moon in Capricorn, I believe, and I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite parts of summer, is just being able to be out at night, because this week is going to be like 90 degrees, so it's going to be like really warm at night, which like I'm really excited for. And I don't know, today we're just going to have a heart-to-heart little chill night, kind of like vlog type of things. Okay guys, and we are out here, and I don't really know what this moon means, but today we are releasing any negative energy that has a hold on us. And yeah, I feel like I usually plan out what I'm going to talk about in my videos, but like today I'm not, because I just want to kind of like freestyle it, just speak from my heart, I guess. That sounds really corny, but yeah, we're just gonna be out here vibing tonight, so I hope you guys enjoy the little video. Okay, today I wanted to talk about like self-actualization, and I'm not really even sure if that's like the right word that I should use for it, but overall I just wanted to talk about like something that happened to me recently, and kind of just like my journey with like how I view myself. I feel like it wasn't until very recently where I could actually see myself and see the beauty within myself truly. I feel like for people who struggle with like really viewing themselves for who they truly are, I feel like it's a very hard journey, because a lot of people kind of give you this advice as if like, you know, you should be trying to prove something to yourself, in a sense of like, you know, a lot of people say like, don't compare yourself to other people, or don't compete with other people, you should be competing with yourself. And I feel like I took that advice for a really long time, and competing with myself in a sense was also toxic, because I think that there is a healthy amount of competition that you can have with yourself, but I do think that overall sometimes self-actualization, or like kind of seeing things for what they really are, is something that like more so happens in time. I can't really explain what the exact feeling is, but I do know that the feeling of truly being able to love yourself and see the beauty within yourself is not something that you can force. A lot of people act like it's something you can force. People tell you, oh, like, you know, take care of yourself, go get your hair done, go get your nails done, or go do activities that you love, and this is that and the third. And that's not to say that that advice just isn't good, because I do think that it does go somewhere, but I do think that overall it does have to be a switch that flips within you for you to be able to see yourself for who you truly are. And I feel like I'm finally seeing myself for who I truly am, and I feel like all this has been happening in the sequence of leading up to tonight, so it's honestly just like really interesting. I kind of wanted to give an example of how this like self-actualization happened. So in high school, I dealt with a lot of like on and off kind of like depression and things like that. And like anytime I would like take pictures of myself, like I hated like the pictures. I just like never liked any picture I looked like. It was always just something where I could just never see. I just never used to see myself like how I like for who I was. So more recently, I was just looking back at some like pictures from high school. Like I was looking back at like my junior year homecoming pictures, and I was like looking at the pictures, and I was like, wow, like I was really beautiful. And when I was looking at these pictures now, they were a totally different set of pictures from like what I was looking at from when I was actually there. Like when I was 16 and I was looking at those pictures, I saw a totally different set of pictures than like what I see now. And I'm just like, I feel like that's a form of self-actualization. And I feel like for a long time I knew that like I dealt with like depression, but I wasn't really able to see it for what it is, and I wasn't really able to see myself for who I truly was. Even like now that I've healed from a lot of the things I dealt with, I feel like when I look back at myself, I've kind of always looked at it as like, oh, like you were just a fucked up kid. But now like I'm actually able to see who I am for who I was, and like I see the beauty in my past self. And I feel like that self-actualization of like being able to see the beauty in my past self has allowed me to forgive, because although I've matured and grown a lot when it comes to how I take care of myself, when it comes to how I handle myself, when it comes to how I view myself, I do think that if you view your past self as something negative, whether you understand it or not, like that ultimately does have an effect on who you are now. You could be a totally different person now, but I think that it was hard to stand on who I am in this moment, because I hadn't yet forgiven the person who I was in the past, or I haven't yet really appreciated or accepted or showed love to who I was in the past. I feel like people have to understand, like when you are in the mode of like creating a new identity, like you
only have the now, right? Like if I've started creating my new identity 3 months ago, it's going to be hard to stand on that new identity even though I created it 3 months ago, no matter how hard I tried. Because if I'm constantly shaming the person that I was before 3 months ago, if I'm constantly shaming the person who I was 6 months ago, then it's kind of like the person that I chose to become 3 months ago kind of becomes a facade. And I don't know if like people understand that or people don't, but like my point is that I feel like forgiving my past self and seeing the beauty in my past self has allowed me to really become more confident in who I am now at this moment, because now I know that the beauty that I see within myself, the beauty that I'm building within myself, is not something that's new. It's not something that I just achieved, or it's not something that I had to acquire. Like the beauty in myself was always within, because I feel like a lot of people who deal with issues, like a lot of people, like I said, they built themselves up, they're good people now, but I think that to know that those traits, those qualities, those the beautiful side of you is always within you allows you to be like more like confident within yourself. And I just feel like that's something, when you know that you were always beautiful, when you know that you were always smart, when you know that you were always talented, it's just that the circumstances and timeline were different. Like nobody can take that away from you. I actually wrote a Substack that kind of like explains what I was feeling, and it kind of just supports the whole idea that if you don't forgive your past self, no matter who you build yourself up to be in the present, it really doesn't matter, because you have to love all the versions of you that existed, and you have to be accepted for all the versions of you that existed. Sometimes it's difficult for me to embrace new relationships and connections, not because I don't want to, but because I don't fully trust the version of myself that people are meeting. When I meet someone new, they meet the version of me that exists in the present. They meet the version of me that's been refined and polished. Although my authenticity remains, this present version of me does not feel whole. While others bury away the blurs of the past as if it didn't exist, all versions of my timeline exist simultaneously in my mind. So I'm going to stop right there. Basically, essentially, what this means is that even though like I feel like I built myself up to be the person who I am today, I feel like sometimes I still see myself for the girl who was struggling, the girl who made a lot of mistakes, and for the girl who just really wasn't as confident in herself overall. I'm going to continue. While you see the girl who is calm, beautiful, and put together, I see a combination of my new and old reflection. It feels wrong for someone to love me for who I am today. It feels wrong to live a life where the past ceases to exist. I have a hard time understanding that the past is no more, because it still lives within me in a new perfected way. In my opinion, to love is to love all. To love is to love one's existence, which includes who they are, who they could become, and who they were. Therefore, if you were to fall in love with me today, I will always wonder if that love would still exist if my past ever came back to peek through. Would you still love me if I slid back into old habits that I've worked so hard to outgrow? There's something unsettling about being adored for a version of yourself that feels most distant from your raw truth. Is your love for me a reflection of who I am, or does it reflect how well I've learned to put myself together? My longest connections are my strongest ones. They've embraced me through every single version of my simultaneous existence. That kind of love grounds me, because the love was built around who I am and not the pedestal of who the idolized lover wants me to be. In reality, my hesitation to be loved for the present hinders me from experiencing something deeper. Perhaps this is because there was a time when the present I trusted became the past that I'm ashamed of. Maybe it's a bit unrealistic to expect someone to love all of me at once. The goal could be for someone to fall in love with learning me the same way someone reads a book or watches a movie. Attracted by the cover, but further intrigued as they flip through the never-ending pages of my existence. Overall, I'm just gonna leave this video at that. I could definitely go into more detail, but like I said, I was kind of like freestyling this video. It was just kind of like what was coming at the top of my head currently, but I really hope that you guys enjoyed this little talk from me, although it was a bit short. And yeah.